There we go. Rock and roll. Hi, everyone. How you doing, Kevin?
Hey, great, Mike. Good to see you. You're looking good.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. It's been way too long since we've just had a little bit of time. But first of all, let's see. We met, I think, about 7-8 years ago through Joe Polish, Genius Network.
Yeah.
And I'm just blown away with everything that you've got going on right now. And a big part of what we're here to talk about today is this new book and Mentor to Millions, but also just get some great insights on mentoring in general. Something I know you and I are both super, super passionate about.
Oh, yeah.
So why don't we catch everyone up here on the latest goings on? And I'd love to know what's happening in your world, this partnership that you have. And let's just get everyone caught up. And in the meantime, everyone who's watching us live, I'm watching your comments. I'll see you all here. I know Ryan McMullen's watching us, and I'll say hi to our other folks as they pop in too.
Super. Hey, Mike, maybe I'll take 1 minute just to kind of explain how I got to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can talk about what I'm doing now. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I can play your sizzle reel too. That's another thing, for people, but it's like, I'd rather just keep it story.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, one of 6 kids. And I say I had a mentor. My first mentor was a man named Charlie when I was 11 years old. He was my father. Okay. And he said, Kevin, you need to own your own business. And I started in his restaurants and bars when I was 11. And he didn't just have me washing dishes and serving food. He would bring me in the back at the end of the day, and he would show me, okay, here's the bar receipts, and here's the food receipts, and this is the percentages, and this is how much we pay these folks, and all that. So he really wanted me to understand the inner workings of his restaurants and businesses. And so when I was 15 years old, I started a driveway sealing business. When I got into college, I needed a full-time business because I had to pay for my college. I started a heating and air conditioning company, and we were installing furnaces and air conditioning systems. But I got all the list of all new homeowners who had just bought a new house, and we gave them a free furnace cleaning, and we were getting 20 new customers a week. While I was going to college, I had a team of people doing this. We had 25 employees by year 2 with 6 trucks going out every day. And so then I had built this little business. I was successful. And I'll never forget, I ordered cable television. I'm sitting there in the early 80s now. When I first got cable, it was 30 channels, ESPN Sports, HBO Movies, MTV Music. I got to the last channel and there was nothing there. And I'm like, whoa, I called the cable company. I said, hey, I've loved the 29 channels I'm getting, but I'm paying you for 30. What's happening? Why is there nothing on channel 30? They said, oh, you must have come in when it was off time, when it was downtime. It's an 18-hour-a-day channel only. There's 6 hours a day of downtime. And I'm like, downtime meaning nothing? And they're like, yeah, nothing. It's a brand new channel. They only have a budget for 18 hours a day. So that's when the light bulb went off. And I said, I may have something to put in that time. And they said, well, come on down and talk to us about it. Well, I ended up testing products. So I tested products after product, and Ginsu knives, Food Saver. Then we got into Tony Little Fitness, and all of a sudden, Jack LaLanne and the Juicer, and George Foreman, and Billy Mays, and then 50 Cent called. He had his headphones he wanted me to do, and Paris Hilton had a lip plumper, and Kim Kardashian had a couple products for us. We did the Jenners and all that. We had a lot of fun. So that brings you kind of up to speed to today. But then there was a change, and I owned Ascena TV Inc., AscenaTV.com. The last 10 years has seen a big demise of the world of television because there's been a 50% decline in television viewership. So we've now morphed into a digital company, and that kind of brings you up to speed. And I think I know you knew that whole story, but the folks that are listening maybe hadn't heard all that.
Yeah, I think the other thing, what brought you and me together when we first connected and met is a lot of the early mentors like Tim Hawthorne and Joe, who did Blue Blocker sunglasses, were mentors of mine. And I produced a digital product called the Internet Infomercial Toolkit.
Oh, yes.
All based on the formulas that you guys figured out early on. And I just adapted it to the internet, but that was before there was a YouTube. So I produced the product in 2003. And you were definitely one of my mentors. You didn't know I existed at the time. So I've been a huge lover of all things, always video, always sales. It's like, how do you influence, how do you persuade with video in an automated fashion? And back before there was an internet and there was any vehicle for playing it back, it was like, it's TV, it's got to be timed. You got to pick a channel and hopefully get in front of the right audience. So why don't we advance a little bit to your relationship that you have with Mark Tim, and also what's going on with the book, the new book, Mentor for Millions. And I'll just
thank you.
Image too.
So this week is my upside down, my book launch week, Mentor to Millions, with my co-author Mark Tim. And Mark and I are together today. He's doing podcasts on his side. We're actually we're going to hit over 200 by the end of this week. And so,
wow.
I mean, in addition to CNN and CNBC and, you know, a lot of really powerful media outlets. So we're getting some great traction at Amazon and the various book outlets. But the bottom line is this: Mark Tim, it's an amazing story, because Mark and I are the co-authors, and we met through a mutual mentor, Zig Ziglar. Okay. So Zig was mentoring me back in the day. Zig mentored Mark back in the day. When Zig passed away, both Mark and I communicated, obviously, our condolences and this and that with the family. And Tom Ziglar said, wait a minute, you two guys, my dad would have put you together if he were here. I'm going to put you together because you've got some similarities. And Mark, I think you could use some of Kevin's mentoring. So Tom put us together. And by the way, who wrote the foreword for the book? Tom Ziglar also, right? So it just comes all the way around. So the book is about a journey that Mark and I take together, and this magical transformation that occurs in Mark's life, his business, but also his family life, which was very powerful. And so that's what Mentor to Millions is all about. It's not so much a how-to book, although we do talk about how to get mentors. And one of the most important things, Mike, you've probably heard this before, but have you ever had a mentee that you felt was just wasting your time? They weren't following up on the advice you gave them. And so you basically pretty much had to bail out, right?
No, we fire the uncoachable. That's really what it comes
uncoachable,
down to.
right?
People are uncoachable.
Yes. We say that a mentee has to be the best student of the mentor. And I'll say this: Mark Tim has been an amazing student of mine, and so much so that all through the whole process of me mentoring him in the beginning, it was just me giving back to the entrepreneurial community. I do this. It's like I donate money to charity. I donate my time to entrepreneurship and mentor folks that need mentoring. And so Mark came to me afterwards and said, but Kevin, are we allowed to do business together now? Could we do some deals? And we're now partners on a couple of ventures. But it was a lot of fun, the two of us going through the processes of this. And for Mark, it turned out to be a magical transformation. It was very powerful.
It's great. So let's throw some value bombs out there for everyone who's watching right now. I know we've got some interesting folks out here, but I'm curious through your lens right now, Kevin, where are you applying your mentorship skills in terms of what you're doing? Where's the money right now? What are you investing your time and resources in?
Yep.
I'm really curious what's producing income revenue, especially during the world of the pandemic times. And
I'd
love you to pull out your crystal ball today.
Right. So now I because I'm involved with dozens of companies. I invested in over 500 companies, and I'll tell you right off the bat, 350 of them didn't work, and so now you take the ones that did work, and one of them, the Tony Little Gazelle business, became hundreds of millions of dollars. It was huge, and so now, but let's fast forward to today. There's one of the big challenges that hit when COVID came was, if you're in the retail business, things were tough. The retail stores were closed. You couldn't go out. If you're, and so I said to myself, when I got into the as seen on TV business back in the early 80s, it was 10 years before Amazon. But what is Amazon? What is as seen on TV? Direct to the consumer. I've got almost 40 years of experience in selling products direct to the consumer. So now what happened during COVID, retail chains, Pier 1 Imports, for example, they didn't care about direct to the consumer. They only worried about their stores, and such that when COVID hit, boom, they had to file for bankruptcy because they couldn't weather the storm. They didn't have a direct to the consumer strategy. So the bottom line is, one of my focuses, and I sit on 9 public company boards, and I'm going to give you an example of an amazing thing that happened during COVID. One of the companies that I got involved with, have you ever heard of a product called Celsius? It's an energy drink that you drink.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I got approached by the Celsius management. I knew one of the guys that was running the company. He worked for me at one time 6 years ago. And he said, Kevin, I'd like for you to come down and meet, the top people in the company. We're starting up now. It was a startup, starting really from, it was next to nothing in sales. And they had a little public company stock. It was trading at the time I first met him, 10 cents a share. By the time I signed my deal to join the board and be part of the team and get a block of stock and all of that, the stock was 22 cents. And now fast forward in May of this year, COVID time, the stock had gone to about $4 a share. Not too bad for something that was 22 cents. So, pretty good return, but this is what happened. One of the key things that me, the board, the rest of the board decided a few years back is, we need to focus on direct to the consumer, because yes, we're going to have retail distribution like Red Bull and Monster, but we want to use social media influencers. So we have north of 1,000 social media influencers, and we brought on some big ones at one time, Flo Rida, and then he brought on Khloe Kardashian. And by the way, Khloe Kardashian was tweeting and drinking and sending posts out, not charging us a dime, because she came through Flo Rida. But these social media influencers were going so hot and heavy that instead of sales dropping during COVID, our sales were up 150%. Now the market started reacting to this like, wait a minute, how does a company that has half their stores closed increase sales? As they looked at what we were doing, this whole phenomenon caught on fire. The stock went from $4 to $10 to $15. It's $20 today. It's a $1.4 billion company. We're now in 175,000 stores all around the world, but we also have direct to the consumer strategy. So what I'm doing for all the public companies I'm involved with, you got to remember something. You and me in our industry, we know a lot about direct to the consumer, but when you get to these public companies, they don't know what you're talking about. They don't know funnels. They don't know driving, social media influencers. So this is what I'm all about now, is bringing the things that we've been doing the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, which is now my transition, because I sold all my assets of As Seen on TV. I sold As Seen on TV Inc., AsSeenOnTV.com. And what am I doing? I'm doing digital. I'm a digital entrepreneur, and I'm focusing on bringing this in a direct to the consumer strategy with all the companies I get involved with.
That's great. And I think we'll go down the mentorship avenue in a moment, but I do want to ask a question. This is actually timely. It's smart. Shane Hardigan asks, and this is on LinkedIn, Amazon Prime is launching live streaming next month on their e-commerce platform. What do you think of this move? Curious your perspective there. And obviously you're a man of many channels.
Yeah.
They've done a great job of making this available, and they've got tools so you can do full broadcasts. It's pretty impressive, but curious what your perspective is.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be phenomenal. I think that, I mean, I actually thought that Amazon maybe acquire. I mean, QVC bought HSN a couple of years ago for $3 billion. I mean, that would have been an easy play for Amazon to make, but I think they wanted to do it themselves, and that's what they're doing. So, I mean, you mentioned video. The power of video is what I built my life on. I mean, you don't sell a Jack LaLanne juicer on the radio, okay? You know, I mean, could you? Maybe, but the bottom line is demonstration, magical transformations, before and after. When you think about the biggest products, the Gazelle with Tony Little, before and after, weight loss using the Gazelle, Proactive, Guthy Rancor, skincare, you know, acne products, Pizza Face to clear skin. I think the video format of selling is powerful. And I continue to do this in digital, just shorter length videos. So yeah, I believe that Amazon, they've got the systems, they've got the knowledge, they have the product flow, they've got the relationships. I think you're going to see some big things happening with Amazon there.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And so what I'd like to do now is let's talk a little bit about mentorship. And just to frame this for anyone who might be just dialing in or seeing us right now, Kevin Harrington, you've seen him from Shark Tank. He wrote a book with Mark Tim. It's called, and you can see it right here. I'm going to pop it up on screen. Here we go. Yep. Mentor to Millions.
Thank you.
And I'll scrub through it. It's available now. We'll put the link up on the screen in a moment where you can get your copy of the book. Kevin and Mark have put together a whole bunch of great bonus gifts during this promotional period. And so we'll pop that up. We'll throw it up in chat, and you'll see it scrolling across the screen in a bit. And we'll go through exactly what you receive in a moment. But lots of people we know, there you can see Dan Sullivan, Joe Polish are giving you some love. Michael Hyatt, Sonia Riccati, Greg Ranker, Guthy Rancor. Wow, nice job.
Yeah.
But you've got a whole bunch of great bonuses that you get when you pick up the book.
Well, you also get 30 days of free mentoring. That's the biggest bonus right there.
So great.
Yeah.
Very, very good. So let's get back to talking about you, which is and mentoring. So I got a couple of questions here. And that is, and I get this a lot, which is what advice did you give to young people who are looking for a mentor? And then I'm going to flip that around and talk about becoming a mentor, and what you believe is important, especially in this day and age. I really want to dialogue about that. And anyone who's watching right now, feel free to submit your questions for Kevin as well. Happy to pop them up on screen.
Yeah, great. So, I mean, a lot of folks have asked me, well, if you had mentors. Well, my father mentored me in the beginning to start my own business, but I did, and I've been doing so many podcasts. Have I told you about when I ran out of cash? I had 40,000 orders sitting there. Did we talk about that yet?
No.
Okay. I got to tell you, this is a great story because our sales were going so well that we got way more orders than we expected. I had 40,000 orders of a product at $60 a piece that I couldn't buy the inventory for because we had used all of our capital for other things. And this is back in the 80s. And so I went to initially, I looked at a couple of my folks internally, my accountants, and they go to the bank and get some money, right? Okay. So I went to 5 banks, and of course, no, 5 no's. And because there was no assets and, et cetera. And I was a young startup entrepreneur. So make a long story short, I reached out, and I'm going to talk about how I found a mentor and how you can find a mentor. I say the first place to start, and this is exactly what I did. Who do you write checks to? Okay. And what's the relevance of that? Well, I write checks to my accounting firm, my lawyers, in the case of as seen in TV, media companies, phone centers, fulfillment centers, merchant processors, et cetera. But we write a lot of checks. That's the great place to start. Hey, Mr. Accountant, I need someone to help me with getting financing. Who do you know that might be able to help? The same thing to the lawyers, to the this, to the that. And eventually I ended up with the name of a retired banker in Philadelphia where I lived. They said, this guy's a rock star. He's retired, but he's not quitting business. He's just getting out of running the bank he was running. So I called him, we sat down, and he looked at my business. He said, wow, he says, this is an unbelievable business. It's new. It's you should be able to get some financing here. But what happened? And I said, well, I went to 5 banks. He said, okay, I understand why you didn't get it. I know what to do. And this is the deal I'm going to make you. I'm going to mentor you for 90 days. No charge. I'm going to get you your $3 million line of credit that you were looking for. No charge. In fact, I think I can get it from one of the banks that already turned you down. And so I shook his hand and said, well, there's no charge, and I got $3 million in the bank. Let's do it. And literally 90 days later, it all happened just like he said. He only wanted to sit down with me afterwards to see if there was some future relationship we could have afterwards. But we took that $3 million line of credit and then 10x'd the size of the company. Went from 50 million to 500 million. It wasn't a million to 10 million. It was 50 million to 500 million. So, and we did get another $10 million line along the way also, because we were growing and having some great time. So I just say that mentors for me have been game changers. And if you're an entrepreneur and you don't, you don't know everything about every part of your business, you need to maybe check in to getting some of the right mentors at the right places for your company. So that was one great story of a mentor for me.
Yeah. I think we've got similar friends, connections, and mentors as well. I've been in Genius Network with Joe Polish for at least 10 years, maybe longer now. I think it's definitely longer. I've known him over 15.
Yeah.
I've been in Strategic Coach now, and that's led to doing a podcast with Dan.
Right.
And, one of my great mentors I'm also doing a podcast with, which is Gay Hendricks, who wrote The Big Leap. Oh, yeah. Really brilliant guy. So I think having sage advice from especially people who have been there, done that. In this case, both of them are 76 years old. So go
wow.
But I'm curious, through your lens right now, the opportunity, right now, my primary business revolves around advising and mentoring business owners. And I positively love it. Where prior to that, I had an agency, 2 software companies, and then basically an online direct response business. So through your lens right now, what are the most important facets of selecting a mentor, the mistakes people make, so they get the best results depending on where they are?
Great question. So the first thing I look for is I want somebody that has some relevant experience and knowledge and connection. So I just like what you said, what you're doing, I'm doing the same thing, mentoring companies and public companies. And one of the companies that had came to me way back, rather, was they were in the business of selling products to the military. And so I went out to MacDill Air Force Base and got a retired general to be the mentor for this company. And he opened up every door that had previously been shut by due to this guy not knowing how to get into the right people inside the military. So yes, that relevant experience is important. The other thing is there's, some mentors are really good at business advice, but sometimes people need some personal advice. They where their business, maybe they're having some family troubles or something like that. Now, mentors don't necessarily want to be family advisors, but in our book, Mentor to Millions, we talk about the family quite a bit, and how the family can be one of your most valuable businesses if you structure things the right way. And so Mark Tim is really powerful in this regard. But the bottom line is that you want to make sure, what kind of things are off base or okay. And you want to have the right kind of systems and reporting. And because I found that sometimes I mentored one guy, one company, and boy, they were calling me like every day, like, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this. And so there was just way too much, and it just wasn't going to be a right fit. So we had to move on. But, there's a lot of various things that you look for. And I think, like getting back to the retired general, that there is a very powerful relevance to the industry that this company was in. So, and I think one thing you'll find right now, because of the challenges out in the marketplace, there's a lot of people that are moving towards this direction of mentoring because jobs have changed. There's unemployed people, and we sort of, I mentor people and say, don't let, if you're unemployed, go get a side hustle, right? And a side hustle should include something that you're skilled at. And maybe there's some coaching and mentoring you could do on a fee basis and do well there. So those are a couple of my tips.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the things that I look for, which are in line with, practical experience, is recency. So I don't trust anyone who's telling me about their high school touchdown pass, 20 years later. It's like, yeah, and since then you're an overweight alcoholic.
Yeah, right.
Probably some bad advice. Never take advice from fat doctors. That's another one. So
I just thought of one other thing too, Mike.
Yeah, go for it.
A lot of folks don't realize in the old days, I built all these businesses, but we never sold them. And nowadays, someone starts an Amazon business. What do? They sell it. It's look for people with exits that know how to do exits, that know the multiples, and know, because it's in today's world, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and there's great opportunities. I mean, I know a company that is selling $3 million worth of product annually, $3 million in sales might be worth as much as $15 million if there's great profits and continuity revenues.
Yeah, that's as I'm listening to you, along the lines of the exits, the other thing that I look for is ecosystem. So a great mentor is going to make introductions on your behalf and bypass what could be years of relationship building. And very frequently, whatever the challenge is that's standing in your way. And let's say, for example, this is a really simple one, but I see it in billionaires as well, is you're being able to receive, whether it's compliments, money, or get out of your own way. And then the other thing that is, you can be one relationship away from having all the clients and customers you ever need. So, a great mentor can be a very, very fast way. And you talk about hijacking, media hijacking. This can be relationship hijacking. Do you want to go down that path and describe how media hijacking works? Because I think that's relevant as well. It's just a mindset.
Yeah. So media hijacking is it. So let's say there's a big Doberman pinscher that attacks a child, and it's a terrible situation. But I know a gentleman that built his business on media hijacking. His name's Harrison Forbes. He's a celebrity dog trainer. And so when these things would happen in a local market, he would reach out to the media and say, I'm an expert witness and expert witness for in the world of dogs, and I could be available to comment on the incident that you're having there. Oh, did they euthanize the dog? Did they this? Did they that? Whatever, right? And so media hijacking is following the media, following the current events that are happening out there, and then inserting yourself as an opportunity to be an expert at, to the local media, the national media at that particular time. Great vehicle to get some great exposure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's the other big question I have is, why don't you talk a little bit about the structure of the book Mentor to Millions, what your general theme is, and let's dive in and talk about the bonuses that you're making available for everyone that picks up the book. And we're going to make sure that everyone right now sees the link so they can check out and get the book too.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we've got several bonuses, downloads, and we teach you. I love pitching. I've taken 50,000 pitches, so we have a bonus on the perfect pitch. I mean, I've got a system, and I'm not going to give you the 10 steps here because we teach you that in the downloads. But there's a 3-step system: tease them, please them, and seize them. And this is in pitching. Tease with an attention-getting problem, please with solutions to the problem and magical transformations and testimonials, and seize with an irresistible offer. So, I mean, I think what we're saying here, Mike, is that beyond the fact that we're going to talk about mentoring in the book, we're going to give you a bunch of bonuses, but we also are going to you're going to get 30 days of mentoring where we're going to be giving these bonuses along the way and doing live mentor sessions, inviting you to come online with us live like we're doing right now, Zoom, ask questions. And this is a really powerful way for folks that don't know much about mentoring to be able to listen to Mark and I as we host these virtual events over the month of mentoring that we give for free during this 30-day program. So we're really excited about everything that we're getting a lot of traction at Amazon right now because the book just came out yesterday, and I think it's starting to take off. So we hope that anybody that's out there, for $18, I think it's $17.99, you get the book and 30 days of free mentoring. You can't lose. We're going to teach you a lot of other things beyond mentoring, like I mentioned, pitching and things like that. So it's been good reconnecting. I don't know when the last time you and I were physically in the same room together.
I don't remember. The last time we really had a good conversation was when you were doing the Ziglar promo.
Zig Ziglar, right?
I got involved in that, but no, but we've crisscrossed a couple times, a few text messages, but I think what I'd love to do is schedule another even deeper interview for one of the podcast shows that I have, Ability Amplifier or The Big Leap. But one thing I really appreciate about you, Kevin, is you are an absolute reinventor. And if there's one technique that I think everyone needs to get when they work with you and take advantage of this offer with the mentoring, is just take on the mindset of how many lines you have in the water at any given time. You are a man who's got a lot of deals out there, and there's a lot of fish nibbling on a lot of lines, and inevitably a couple of them are going to be big poppers. But do you want to exit on your philosophy of lines in the water to break away today?
Yeah, sure. My father, he worked 90 hours a week in his restaurant, and he opened at 11 for lunch, closed at 2:30 in the morning, 6 days a week. And Sunday he was off. And on Sunday, I'll never forget, he said, "Okay, today, Kev, we're going to go out. I just bought the rights to Magic Fingers massaging units that we're going to be installing in Holiday Inns all across the city." And I'm like, "Dad, this is your day off. What are you doing?" He's like, "Hey, you can't keep all your eggs in one basket." He said, you've got to have other sources of income. So it's called multiple streams of income. And over the years in the SC and TV business, I focused a lot on that, but I always said, you got to have other investments, other businesses. And so, yes, I mean, my dad, I'll never forget, we would install the Magic Fingers one weekend, and then the next Sunday we were putting laminating machines in different locations that would laminate back in those days, your driver's license wasn't plastic; it was paper. So security card paper. So we were in the laminating machine business, but multiple streams of income. So for me, I decided to sell all my assets. I used to be the CEO of Ascena TV Inc., AscenaTV.com. I said, no, I'd rather be a consultant advisor to dozens of companies, and then I can have equity in. And some of those are going to go to the moon, like Celsius. I mean, I got in on Celsius at 2 million and it became 1.4 billion. And I got a nice slice of that. So this is where the future is for me. It's continuing to have multiple streams and a lot of lines in the water. And I think that means when COVID hits, if, I did have a retail investment that's not doing well right now, but my directed to consumers are crushing it. So when you have a variety of opportunities and income streams, you have a great opportunity for some of them to become huge, huge winners, obviously. So thanks for having me, but I'm going to take you up on your offer to come back another time. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you got it, Kevin. It's always a pleasure. I love your brain. I love how you think. And I'll let you go. And in the meantime, what I'll do is I'm going to do a little bit of closing for you. I'm going to send more people. I'm going to walk through the page, make sure you get some more sales. We had a couple people already say they've invested in the book. I'll continue to promote this just because I love who you are. I love what you do. And it's always a blast spending time with you. All right, Kevin?
You're an amazing guy. I appreciate it, Mike. Okay, buddy. Take care. Be good. Thanks for all your help. Bye-bye.
Right. So here's what I do want to tell you. First of all, I've known Kevin a long time, like I said, about 10 years. Spent a lot of time with him initially. He's had opportunities to be on my stage. We've spent a lot of quality time thinking together. I love how he thinks. And this last big idea of having multiple lines in the water, I want to tell you one thing that's, thank you, Lee, by the way, for your investment as well. Here's what I've learned that's made a huge difference as a mentor. Now that I'm very actively working with lots of people, you saw Ryan McMullen. He's one of really rock star who I've been mentoring. But as I've been working with a variety of businesses, not only do you have an opportunity to get paid when you work with them, but as Kevin alluded to, he's getting equity deals. Now, I know Kevin very well, and he doesn't have to make a cash investment a lot of times. He's able to have very substantial fees to work with them in the multiple six-figure areas, and he'll occasionally do a trade. So he'll do a partial swap where he'll get some equity in addition to cash, and then, it might only be a couple, 2 out of 10 deals that really pop. But using that lines in the water attitude and getting back to really be explicit about what he alluded to, he's on the board of 9 different companies, actually more than that. And that gives him the flexibility. And right now, when we're living in a pandemic, for example, where there's lots of businesses going down, there's a ton of them that are going up. And wealthy thinking is a matter of having multiple lines in the water, multiple streams of income, as he alluded to. That is fairly common thinking, but getting there is the important thing. And again, I'm a huge believer in going narrow and deep, having high ticket offers. And if you work as a mentor, being able to take advantage of the fact that people who you work with and provide quality advice will want you as an advisor and often as an equity partner because of the additional value you bring. So maybe, again, to bring this back to home, I'm going to just show the page. So when you visit that link, mrbz.com/mentor, here's Kevin Harrington's book. And he gives you all kinds of great bonuses. There's great stories in here. His partner and co-author, Mark Tim, is a super awesome guy. Just big heart, really, really smart. And you get lots and lots of goodies with the investment. All you got to do is head on over to the page. After you get your copy, you get all the bonuses. You get the mentoring for a month. And I think it's a really a huge value. So that's what I want to finish on right now. First of all, thanking you. I'm not doing this for money. I don't get paid for schlepping Kevin's books. I'm here doing it because I really love who he is. He's been a very good friend and a mentor to me as well. I just love the way he thinks and what he does. So with that, I'm officially going to take this baby home. I'm going to check and see if we got any comments. Again, thanks for the, there's Ryan. Thanks for the shout out. It's my pleasure. Thank you again, Lee, for your investment, and also Brian Kelly and everyone else who made an investment in the book today, supporting Kevin. It means the world to him, means the world to me. So hope to see you soon. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe to the feeds, and we'll be doing another show like this very, very soon. So thanks a lot, and chat with you soon. Bye-bye.